Hello everyone, and welcome to Bridge is for Everyone. My name's Jad. This is episode 49 of the Learn to Play series. This episode continues our exploration of the principles of leading as defender. In the previous episode, you learned about the 6 factors which you should consider when making any lead. The first was the cards in your own hand. Then came those related to the contract you're trying to defeat. The nature of the contract strain, be it a no-trump contract or a suit contract. Which suit is the contract trump suit? And the level of the contract. The final 2 factors related to the bidding. First, any bids made by partner, and finally, any bids made by your opponents. These factors should be considered when making any lead because they all provide information which will always be of help. But after the first trick has been played, there is additional information available to you. This means that there are more factors that you should consider when leading. The most immediately useful of these is partner's opening lead. Let's look at an example. This is deal 021. West is the dealer. The bidding is very simple. Your opponents bid only spades, and you and partner passed throughout. The contract is 4 spades by West, so partner will make the opening lead. Here is your hand. Partner leads the 6 of diamonds, and East's hand is placed face up on the table as dummy. Declarer plays the 3 of diamonds from dummy. You play the ace of diamonds, which is very likely to win the trick, and West plays the 5 of diamonds. You won the trick, so you will lead to the next trick. Partner's opening lead was a small diamond. As you saw in the previous episode, an opening lead is not random. It is selected to improve the likelihood of winning a trick for the defense. You did not bid, so the opening lead is probably trying to improve the likelihood of winning a trick in partner's hand. You don't know exactly what that reason is, but whatever the reason, there is a rule you should follow. Unless partner led a suit you bid, return partner's opening lead. You can do this by leading a card in the same suit as partner's opening lead. Always do this unless you have a good reason for not doing so. You lead the 2 of diamonds. Now, let's look at a similar situation, but with a different opening lead from partner. This is deal 022. Once again, West is the dealer. The bidding is the same as the previous deal. And once again, the contract is 4 spades by West, so partner will make the opening lead. Your hand is also the same as the previous deal, but this time partner leads the ace of hearts, and East's hand is placed as dummy. Dummy's hand is the same as in the previous example. Declarer plays the 5 of hearts from dummy. You play the 3 of hearts, expecting partner's ace to win, and West plays the 2 of hearts. Partner has won the trick and will lead to the second trick. Partner leads the 6 of diamonds. Declarer plays the 3 from dummy. You play the ace, and West plays the 5 of diamonds. You have won the trick and will lead to the next trick. As you've just learned, you should consider returning partner's opening lead. In the previous hand, after winning with the ace of diamonds, you led a small diamond, But this time the play is different. You need to remember that partner's opening lead was the ace of hearts. You should return partner's opening lead by leading a heart. You lead the 7 of hearts. Partner may be able to win this trick with a trump. Now, let's look at another variation. This is deal 023. This time, East is the dealer. East opens the bidding with 1 club. You overcall 1 diamond, and then your opponents both bid spades. As with the previous deal, the contract is 4 spades by West, so partner will make the opening lead. Here is your hand. Partner leads the 6 of diamonds, and dummy's hand is placed on the table. Declarer plays the 3 of diamonds from dummy, you play the ace, and West plays the 5 of diamonds. You have won the trick and will lead to the next trick. You first consider returning partner's opening lead of a diamond. But you need to ask yourself a question. Why did partner lead a diamond? The answer is because you bid diamonds. When partner leads your suit, there is no requirement to return that lead. Partner was not leading to establish tricks in his own hand. Partner was leading so you could win and establish tricks in your hand. So in this case, you should not use the choice of suit led by partner as a factor in deciding what to lead next. But you can use the next factor in our list. Cards played by partner. Let's continue with the current deal. You know that partner led a diamond because you had bid diamonds. As you learned in the previous episode, when partner leads your suit, the card led will be the highest held in that suit. Let's look back at that first trick. Partner led the 6 of diamonds. You know immediately that partner does not hold the king, or it would have been led. So declarer must hold the king. If you lead a diamond, declarer will probably play the king, which is the highest outstanding diamond. Unless partner can trump the trick, declarer's king will win. So ask yourself this question. Can partner trump a diamond lead? You look at the low diamonds, specifically those lower than the 6 led by partner. You can see them all, the 2, 3, 4 and 5. So, because partner led their highest diamond, they cannot have another diamond. In this case, you decide to lead a diamond, not because a diamond was led by partner, but because it was the 6 that partner led. You know that partner will be able to trump the diamond trick. If partner had led the 7 instead of the 6, then you would be unable to account for the 6, which may be in partner's hand. In that case, you would not lead a diamond. Now let's look at the next lead decision factor, dummy's cards. Once the opening lead has been played, you can see all of dummy's cards. They should always be a factor in deciding which card to lead. Let's look at an example. This is deal 024. West is the dealer. The bidding is very simple. Your opponents bid only spades, and you and partner pass throughout. Again, the contract is 4 spades by West, so partner will make the opening lead. Here is your hand. Your hand is the same as deals 21 and 22, and partner makes the same opening lead, the 6 of diamonds, and dummy's hand is placed on the table. Declarer plays the 3 of diamonds from dummy, you play the ace, and West plays the 5 of diamonds. You have won the trick and will lead to the next trick. You know that you should return partner's opening lead of a diamond unless you have a good reason not to do so. You check to see what will happen if you lead a diamond. Because dummy has no more diamonds, any diamond trick can be trumped. Moreover, dummy will play last to the trick, so even if partner can trump the diamond lead, dummy will play a higher trump. In bridge, we say that dummy will over-trump partner's trump. In this situation, dummy's cards are different from the previous deal, and you must make a different lead. You should apply the rules you learned in episode 48 and may well decide to lead a small heart. Now let's look at the final lead decision factor, declarer's play. Let's look at an example. This is deal 025. West is the dealer. Once again, the bidding is very simple. Your opponents bid only spades and you and partner pass throughout. Again, the contract is 4 spades by West, so partner will make the opening lead. Here is your hand. Partner makes the same opening lead, the 6 of diamonds. Dummy's hand is placed on the table. Declarer plays the 3 of diamonds from dummy, you play the ace, and West plays the king of diamonds. You win the trick and will lead to the next trick. You consider returning partner's suit by leading a diamond. You know that the ace and king have been played, and your queen is now the highest diamond. But before you return partner's suit, you need to consider declarer's play. Ask yourself one question. Why did declarer play that way? Declarer played the king of diamonds under your ace. If declarer had played a different diamond, the king could have won the next diamond trick. The only reasonable explanation for declarer's play is that declarer does not have another diamond. If you return partner's suit by leading the queen of diamonds, declarer will probably win the trick with a trump. It will also leave dummy's jack as the best diamond, probably leading to the loss of another trick. Once again, you decide not to return partner's suit and to lead a small heart. You now have 10 factors to consider when leading as defender. The key to good leading is to pause and consciously think about these factors before you make a lead. With a little practice, the process will become much faster. This episode covered more of the basics of bridge. It showed you more factors to consider when leading after the opening lead. In future episodes, I'll cover everything else you'll need to be a confident and successful bridge player. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to this channel. Until next time, this is Jad reminding you that bridge is for everyone.